From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And today is the day for the Midsummer Classic. Take center stage tonight in Seattle. Who wins this year's MLB All-Star game? We got ourselves two really, really good lineups. Not great lineups, but really good lineups. You know what I mean? And as you can see, we probably don't have the best parity ever, because literally you have 5 Atlanta Braves starting tonight for the team. And I think on the other side, you got a bunch of Devil Rays playing on that side as well, too. So, no, not the Devil Rays, actually the Texas Rangers. So it's really funny how this MLB All-Star game is being constructed this year in a sense, because, you just got a lot of people, you got a lot of guys in here, and it just seems like it's just about having a good time. It's not really about, going in there and really trying to, win a baseball game, because you're not playing for the World Series home and away situation anymore like they used to make them do before. And the games were really good when they did that as well too, but the AL just kept dominating, and it's just, you can't be that one-sided, you know what I mean? And I just feel like over the last, I would think 25 years or so, when you really put it all together, the AL has absolutely dominated this thing but that's because the AL always has the better hitters, it seems like. And it seems like the better pitching is with the NL, but also the NL just always seems to be hurt when it's this time of the year. But I'm looking at lineups right now. The American League, leading off for them tonight is going to be Marcus Semien. You're going to have Shohei Ohtani in the 2-hole. You're going to also have Randy Arozarena in the 3-hole. Corey Seager, former Dodger, making his first ever appearance with the Rangers. So now he gets the title of being an all-star in both leagues, both the National and the American League. Yandy Diaz, the hard-hitting first baseman for the Rays, will be batting 5th tonight. Adolis Garcia, the right fielder for the Rangers, is going to be hitting 6th. Austin Hayes, the exciting center fielder for the Orioles, is going to be hitting 7th tonight. You got Josh Jung, young talent for the Rangers. He's going to be at the third base spot tonight. And we also have Jonah Haim, who's going to be the Rangers catcher. Who's the Rangers catcher. He's going to be in the 9-hole tonight. Now, the National League is going to be led off by Ronald Acuna Jr. Freddie Freeman is going to be in the 2-hole tonight playing first base. Mookie Betts actually is in the 3-hole tonight playing center field. And then you have JD Martinez playing is in the cleanup spot as the DH. So that's so cool when you look at this and you see that the Dodgers have the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place batters. So that's pretty cool. Then you have Nolan Arenado, third base, Cardinals. Also, you have Luis Arias, second base, Marlins. And then you have Sean Murphy, the catcher for the Braves. And Corbin Carroll, left field for the Diamondbacks. He's going to be batting 8th tonight as well, too. And then you have Orlando Arcia, who's going to be batting 9th tonight. And Zach Gallen gets to start for the National League. So pretty much we have ourselves a very, very fun game tonight. I know that we have some pretty good guys coming off the bench as well, too, in the tonight's game. You have, you're not going to have Aaron Judge and Mike Trout, but you'll have guys like Will Smith, catcher from the Dodgers. He's coming off the bench tonight. You also have some You got some Yankees in there as well, too. Garrett Cole's the starting pitcher. So, tonight when I look at this game, it's going to be a very good kind of reunion, kind of, hey, we're back. Baseball has been very, very good to us all year long. And this is just really fun to see that we're going to have all these guys on display tonight, and you're going to get to know a lot of brand new faces in the MLB as well, too. So this is going to be a terrific game. We wish that all the stars could have made it into this game, but hey, you know what? It happened. So literally, you kind of have a lot of Braves playing, you got a lot of Rangers playing, but that's what happens when you got a fan vote as well, too. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic. But tonight, I'm feeling kind of froggy. I think that we're going to break a streak tonight, because literally you can't go this long without beating the other side, man. You just can't. You know what I mean? So pretty much let's go ahead and move forward. We got the Blazers will take their time with the Dame trade. May not have a real deal done. It's not a real. It's supposed to be deal. It's not something off of IG, but, they have a deal done until the start of training camp. And so that puts everybody kind of in, flux, but you shouldn't be surprised by this. You know what I mean? Dame Lillard is a difficult situation. He's put his team in a place where they can't send him to where they have the best possible deal for their team moving forward. No, he has to go to Miami as if he's a free agent or something of that nature, as if it's okay for him to choose exactly where he needs to go play at, even though he's getting paid $60 million a year. See, that's the problem, Dame, is that they paid the price that you asked for. Then you asked to be traded. But you knew they wanted to trade you. But you waited until they drafted Scoot Henderson, so then you could have a allegation or a blame for the Blazers saying that, oh, they still took the guy when I told them not to take the guy. They took the guy because they can't trust you. You're never healthy enough to warrant a $60 million contract. You can't half-ass this thing, man. You can't be playing 52, 60 games in a season and try to warrant those dollar amounts. I understand that guys need to have time off. I totally understand that part. And I know that Dame has some lingering injuries that have been bothering him for years as well, too. And so pretty much he is a guy who toughs it out and all that good stuff, but he's getting paid a king's ransom to play in the NBA. So a team that's been so loyal to everything he's ever wanted just needs you for once in your career to actually meet them in the middle. They made a lot of risk drafting Dame Lillard 6 out of Weber State of all places. There was a lot of people who were like, he's a bust. He's not going to be good. It's just, why would they do something like that? Dame went out there first game of his career. He was an absolute gem. He was an absolute stud. He had everybody in arms because he's playing way ahead of his time. His first game out. And, you had a lot of good things about Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard reminds me a lot of Dwayne Wade with no Shaq, with no LeBron. This is exactly what Dwayne Wade was doing in Miami when he didn't have those other stars with him. So you have a player in Lillard that knows he has this team right where he wants them at. But they need to go ahead and put their foot down because they're the ones that provided the opportunity for Dame to have all these great things at the end of the day. And I'm not telling people to worship your team. I know everybody always says, well, the team will let you go without a beats notice. It's because it's a business. They're the ones that are cutting the check, not you. So if they decide to move on from you, they decide to move on from you. But if they want to trade you to somewhere where they know they can build a future and you can have what you want as well too, then it all works out. But at the end of the day, the elite teams don't have the assets to get a Dame Lillard because they've already given up their assets to get the stars that they already have. So we're stuck in a situation where you got a guy that's going to force his way out and really wreck another franchise, not the franchise that's trading them, because they're building up nicely. They understand it's going to take 2 or 3 years to get back to the level of being a team that's going to be taken seriously in the NBA. But what you're going to do to the Miami Heat is going to be absolutely brutal. This is like bringing in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, and this guy doesn't have the same aura as those guys do. This guy's a reckless shooter. There's a lot of things that just don't work out for me. You already get paid $60 million. Just go wherever they want to send you to. When your contract is up, you can go ahead and you can go ahead and play in Miami. You can go play at Mars. You can go do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, don't hold this team up. And don't hold yourself up either. And don't ruin the structure of the league so you can go out and keep shooting half-court three-point shots. I don't think that he's conducive to winning. I don't care. Love him that he's from the Bay. Love that he's an honest shooter. All that good stuff. But at the end of the day, if I was a GM, I'd have moved on 2 years ago. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's just not. It's not. And people can sit up in here and make excuses for him, but we all know what the truth truly is. The guy is a great player, but he's not a championship player. It's that simple. It's that simple. He's used to being the guy that goes and plays for the team that's kind of weak, and he can go be the star. You're not going to be able to do any of that with another star. I just don't see that happening. So let's go ahead and move forward. Let's talk about our next topic in hand. And of course, it's the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers are absolutely balling right now in Summer League. And, they got some pretty good players with Max Christie. Also have Inoue. And then Castleton has been really good as well, too. So they have some guys that are really legit. They know that they got to play on another level to even think about being on that team that's going to be in the take the floor for the season. And they're bench guys. Let's just keep it real. They're not going to be starters. But Fino, the way that he's playing, the way that Christie's playing, these guys are playing for actual minutes. And I feel like that is a beautiful thing to see because you have a lot of different spots that can be filled. And you're going to have guys that are going to be in and out the lineup because of injuries. And we all know this. So having Fino and having Christie playing the way that they're playing right now is going to be absolutely exceptional for the Lakers moving forward. I think that eventually Fino will probably be a starter because if I was him, I would probably prefer to start the rookie Fino just because he's a little bit more athletic over the crowd favorite Austin Reeves, who can solidify and stabilize your bench just a little bit better, in my opinion. But it's all up to the coach. No decision is a bad decision, in my opinion. It's just how you go about it. That's the whole thing. So pretty much from how I feel, I think that when it all comes down to it, you're going to have yourself a very, very good Laker team moving forward. The Lakers didn't make much of who's on their rookie team this year. Nobody really went crazy about who's out there playing with them because they don't have the greatest names in the world for that team. And then the kid from Pepperdine should be good as well too, but I think that he's going to be more of a G League player to start off his career. Even though he's a 4-year starter over at Pepperdine and all that good stuff, you know how they are with these guys who actually went to college and are very polished in their game. They want to get those guys actual minutes, so they have to put them down in the G League because they don't want them just sitting on the bench. That's the whole thing. But I think a guy like that could possibly be somebody that does come in and is a rotation guy because he can shoot, he can get his points off the dribble as well too, and he just plays a very high-end game. And he was a guy that was highly touted for possibly a first-round pick as well too. So there's just a lot of things, but the Lakers did not draft any rookies that are going to overshadow the rest of the roster. It's that simple. They brought in guys that are going to be high-end role players. It's that easy. It is what it is. And pretty much the Lakers are playing great basketball right now. They still got an off day today. They'll be back tomorrow. They are pushing themselves to get to this playoff portion of the summer league as well too. But the Lakers have been ice cold in their first 2 games, not ice cold in a bad way, in a great way. So with that, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. And also, Anthony Davis was over at one of my favorite gyms in the world, Churchill. It used to be called Wild Card West, but after they disassociated themselves with that group, they made it Churchill. And Churchill is where I've done plenty of media workouts at. I was a part of the one for Ugas and Porter there as well too. And it's crazy because the day that happened, I actually met Dimitri Bivol. So that was pretty fun in itself. Also was there for the Tank Davis presser when he had his first headliner in Gardena as well, and Carson as well too. So that was pretty fun in itself. So yeah, just a lot of really, really, really fun, lots of fun stuff. You know what I mean? So, all in all with that, pretty much let's go ahead and move on to our next topic at hand. And that's going to be in the world of boxing. And, man, we got ourselves a big fight coming up in the next few weeks, actually on the 25th of July. And that's going to be Steph Fulton arrives in Japan for a showdown with Inoue in a high-stakes unification bout. Now, these guys are fighting for the 122 belts, and it's going to be pretty big. You have the WBO, the WBC on the line in this fight. I know the IBF and the WBA are sitting with other fighters right now, but this is a good unification match, and you know that it's Steve Fulton, the one bringing his belts to the country of Japan, because you know that the bigger draw, the bigger money is on Inoue's side. So pretty much he went ahead and signed off on all obligations and everything that you have to do to get this fight, and he got the fight. So we're ready for probably the best little man fight of the year. And I know a lot of people are excited about it, but people have to understand too at the same time, these guys would usually be on a pay-per-view as the co-main event. They wouldn't be a main event on a big pay-per-view. But on a situation like this where you're on ESPN Plus, possibly ESPN middle of the morning, because the fight's coming on in the middle of the morning. This is not a 8 o'clock at night fight, because the fight is in Japan. Japan's a day earlier, is many hours ahead of us. So they're going to show the fight at about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I think that this is going to be huge for the international audience, in a sense, to get to know Stephen Fulton, because they already know who we know he is. And I truly do feel like this is the biggest fight of Stephen Fulton's career, regardless of whoever he fights after this, because this would establish him as a pound for pound fighter. This would establish him as a guy that is seriously that good. Because at the end of the day, there are still some questions. I'm one of those people who felt he didn't beat Brandon Figueroa. And I know that's not a popular opinion with a lot of folks. But at the end of the day, I have my own eyes and I saw what I saw. So I saw things in that fight that will have me a little worried for him. Because the thing is, Brandon Figueroa hits pretty hard. But Inoue has lightning power, because he can go ahead and put the speed behind it as well too, and hit you with a punch that you did not see coming. Brandon Figueroa, everything that he was throwing, you could see coming. It's not like he's going to surprise you with everything. His job is to go in there and wear you down, octopus punches, all that good stuff. One of the craftiest, one of the best. He's always going to be in fights where if it's close, it's always going to be close. It's either going to be a draw or it's going to be a close decision, because his fights are always sometimes life and death when it comes down to it, when the competition is at the same level. But in this situation, I felt like he got the better of Fulton on a whole bunch of exchanges in that fight. And literally Fulton won because Fulton was active enough and he really never backed down. So that's why it looked pretty good for him, because he never really got on his bike. Now, if he would have been moving around the ring a little bit more than he did, he probably loses the fight. But the refs gave him the credit for staying in the pocket. So he gets the split decision. Inoue, on the other hand, though, Inoue's only tough fight was against an old Nino Donaire. And the fight really came down to pretty much eye situation that kind of bothered Inoue throughout the night, but he finished the fight. That's how good Inoue truly is that he finished the fight with a broken eye socket. And nobody really even knew this until after the fight. So Inoue was able to take that injury, go into this next fight, and he absolutely annihilated the last few guys he fought. So this fight right here is big. It's big in a sense that you have a little man that's like Godzilla of his country. Then you have a guy that a lot of people are very high on in the boxing world. A lot of people feel like Stephen Fulton's already a top 10 pound for pound guy, as is. But this is his moment of truth in reality. Because when you fight in a division like he fights in, and Inoue as well too, it's never going to be you ducking the best of the best. You're always going to fight the best of the best. We look at Inoue's resume, he's went through nothing but world champs his last few fights. When you look at Fulton's resume, it's not the same. Even though Fulton is the more athletic boxer, I would say this. This is going to probably be unpopular as well, too. Inoue is the smarter boxer at the same time. So there's going to be some decisions, and I feel like Fulton may overthink this thing a little bit. And I know he's nervous because he's been talking a lot more than he usually does. So this one right here is really close to call. I'll have a decision on who I really truly feel is going to win, and I'm going to have a number of bets on the fight as well too. So make sure you guys pay attention to that. It's either going to be on our next episode of Big Wave Boxing or an episode here of the Primetime Angles. So pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and take our break. And yeah, that's going to be that for those subjects. And I want to thank you. And pretty much it is what it is. These are going to be some great fights coming up this month. We got Frank Martin, who we're going to talk about a little bit tomorrow. And then we have some more fights on the 22nd. And then we finish. Then we got the big boy on the 29th with Crawford and Spence. So, yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to jump into the Dodgers second half. And we're also going to talk about some WNBA tonight as well, too, and get into talking tickets. So stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Cap.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. So let's go ahead and jump into the Dodgers. And the Dodgers, man, the Dodgers, you know, with all the talking that they've done, Dodgers this, Dodgers that, Dodgers still find themselves right there in the mix for first place, okay? At the end of the day. And I told you guys that I was never worried because there's nothing to worry about. I even said I would much rather have the Dodgers be a team that is a little shaky, a little, hey, I don't know if I can trust this, because you don't want to be comfortable. I keep trying to explain this to y'all. When you chasing the championship, when you doing all that stuff, you need these constant reality checks in a season where you're trying to win a championship. When everything's on cruise control, everything just gets so easy and everything just gets so redundant and so boring, to the point to where we need some pizzazz. And then when you get the pizzazz, you wind up getting beat. But when you're sitting up here all season and say you may lose 3 in a row here, you win 6 in a row here, then you come back, lose 4 in a row here, then you win 7 in a row here. Man, you're playing baseball now. You're going through the motions. You're going through every situation. You're going through every moment that you can use to put you in the right place, so then you can dial up the correct game plans when it's time to get to the playoffs. The Dodgers have been cruise controlling the last few years, and that's why by the time they got to the playoffs, they were a tired team. This year, the Dodgers have been moving it around a little bit, lineups shifting, pitching rotation shifting, bullpen shifting. It's because you're trying to find the right fits, and nothing is a stick right now. Nothing is solid for the Dodgers, but they're still pretty much the best team in the National League. Yes, the Braves have the better record, but the Braves are supposed to be that good. The Dodgers were supposed to be on their regression season, where teams like the Padres take over and they run away with the West, and teams like what they're already doing, the Diamondbacks coming up being a better team, the Giants being a thorn in the Dodgers' side. The Dodgers were supposed to have a tough season. So there's no surprise to me why they're in the position that they're in now, because the Dodgers are battle tested. The Dodgers have had wars. And I keep trying to explain this to people, that the Dodgers are a team that's already built for October. All this regular season stuff is theater. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be a team that's going to be in a situation where they're playing against a team that a lot of people feel like are going to beat them. The Dodgers are better as underdogs. They're not good as favorites. It's that simple, in my opinion. When you go back to the 88 championship, big dog in that one. But when they won the 2020 championship, of course, the Dodgers, that was a walk in the park, because the Dodgers hadn't played 100 games that season. So they didn't get to the real rigors and wears and tears that you really have to deal with. But they did make one of the greatest comebacks you could ever make. They were down 3-1 in the championship series and came back. So now the Dodgers, when you have that mentality with you, you never are scared to have a moment of adversity. And now things are starting to make sense. One thing a lot of people are a little upset about, Miggy Vargas was sent down to it was optioned out. He's going back to AAA, but that's because you want to get him more at bats, but he's not doing enough for you on the big boy club. So what you want to do is you want to get a better bat in the lineup, more of a veteran in the lineup, and prepare yourself. We'll see him at the end of August. He'll be back. He'll be somebody who's going to be critical towards the team's future success. So there's no worries there. But one thing that I do put together in my head right now is Vargas could possibly be a guy that's going to be moved for the piece that you need to move forward. Or they're thinking about bringing in a second baseman who's on an expiring contract, who already has himself, established role in the MLB, and bring that guy in to be a final piece to the playoff run. The Dodgers right now want to add in a few more hitters and a few more pitchers. And the Dodgers will be a big player on the trade deadline. They weren't a big player in free agency. We all know that, because they knew that they were going to strike when it was time for the trade deadline, because they knew there was going to be a lot of teams with a lot of star players that were going to be trying to move these players, because in the MLB nowadays, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So people aren't going to hold on to players like that Ernie Banks and stuff anymore. It just It just won't, because I'm telling you this, people do not go to the ballpark just to go see one player anymore. The days of Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, all them the days is over. So you're put in a position now where you can move these players so then you can have a new day. I feel like the Dodgers can get on the phone with the Cardinals right now. The Dodgers can get on the phone with the possibly get on the phone with the Indians, who always have something that they can move around. Can get on the phone with a team like Kansas City, who has plenty of spots as well, and also a good old friend, Boston. So the Dodgers have a lot of things working out in their favor, and I feel like their second half run is going to be huge. That's all. I'm totally feeling like that is going to occur. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into our WNBA Tuesday night. We got 2 games for the WNBA tonight, and they looking pretty good. They looking pretty good, in my opinion. I would say that they will be there two games that you look at and you say, well, they're one team's really playing for something and the other team is just kind of out there. So, it makes sense. So pretty much tonight, you got 2 games tonight. Instead of having your usual, 3 or 4 games. But we all have to understand that WNBA doesn't play like a full schedule nightly because these girls are not moving around, traveling around like that. NBA travel is different from WNBA travel, and we all have heard about it constantly. So, we all are very aware how it works. So pretty much, you have a very keen sense of things, and I think tonight when you have a game like the Storm and the Mystics, anything can happen in a game like that, to keep it real with you. So let's get into that game, Storm and Mystics. You got a Storm team coming in here 4-14. You have the Mystics 10-8, and then you have a 5.5 point spread, over under of 158.5. So when I look at this, I say to myself that we do have ourselves a pretty good matchup, because regardless of how bad the Storm have been this season, there's still a team that has championship players on it. Jewel Lloyd is one of the better players in the WNBA. And so, when she gets to cooking, it can be good, but this team is in last place. It's crazy when you look at both Phoenix and Seattle. These teams in the last 4 years both have won titles, and they're both are out of it, simply, pretty much. You know what I mean? They're both pretty much done for the year, and they're both 4-14. Phoenix has already fired their coach. Seattle already knew they were going to be bad because they lost Brianna Stewart to New York, who's 13-4. New York hasn't been that good, and it probably since the start of the WNBA. So they are in a game tonight against the Washington Mystics, who are in the 4 hole. And if the playoffs were to start today, they're a playoff team. So they're pretty much in good shape, but they are hovering on that border right now as well, too, because you got Minnesota and Dallas kind of lingering around, where you have Dallas, who's a game above 500, and then you have the Lynx, who are a game below 500. But that doesn't mean that they're that far off. But the tougher conference, you could say right now, is the Eastern Conference. So this is going to be a tough game for the Storm, but it's going to be a tougher game for the Mystics because you have to play up to this bad team. That's the whole thing. In the WNBA a lot, it's tough for them to play up to bad teams when you're a better team. And when you're the Mystics, when you're middling, this usually could turn into a victory for the underdog team. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to see how this shakes out. And this should be a really fun game tonight. I do look forward to some pretty heavy scoring, but I'm going to take the Storm with the +5.5 tonight. I'm not going to take them as a dog, but I'm going to say that they do cover in this game tonight. So with that, let's move forward to our next game, which is going to be the Mercury and the Aces. And the Mercury, you got Brittany Griner, and she's going against Asia Wilson and the crew. And, they're without one of their star players right now in Skylar Diggins. And Diana Taurasi is just old. You know what I mean? And I think Diana Taurasi and her situation with Skylar has pretty much damaged the team because Skylar's hurt, but Skylar probably could have came back by now, but she just doesn't want to play with Diana Taurasi. It's that simple. The writing's on the wall. And I think bringing back a Brittany Griner was good, but all in all, I don't see Brittany Griner being on their team much longer because it's kind of a controversy dealing with her now, and her points and efforts have went down just a bit because now she's kind of broken because what happened to her, being arrested and everything like that. So this is something where they're probably going to move on very soon from her. So you'll probably be seeing Brittany Griner somewhere in Dallas, somewhere in LA within the next 2 seasons, if not next season. So pretty much I feel like the band is probably about to break up in Phoenix, and the Aces are just getting started. The Aces pretty much will lose an all-star, then add another all-star. I thought that they were pretty much done when they got rid of Liz Cambage. They actually went ahead and won a championship with once they got her out of there. And they brought in Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray was a part of the Sparks, and she pretty much put them over the top. So what do they do this season? They bring in one of Chelsea Gray's great friends, Candace Parker. Candace Parker brings the vet leadership that they have been lacking for some time. And literally they lost De'Erica Hamby, but that's okay because they upgraded that position by bringing in Candace Parker. So this team is on a run that has been very unprecedented in WNBA basketball. They're 17-2 right now. They just suffered their second loss of the season the other night, and they lost by 2 points. So this team comes in here with all the bells and whistles, with all the boxes checked off. They've been playing great. They've been doing great, and they're doing a great job of trying to be, the change in the WNBA that can put this league over the top. So pretty much tonight in this game, I feel like we will get us some scoring tonight. I do have the over 170 in this spot. So first game, plus 5.5 to the Storm. Second game, we have the over 170 for that spot. So pretty much I'm telling you this right now because you're going to see it in this short in a second. Why? Because it's time for talking tickets. So up first, the WNBA Tuesday double. And that's going to be plus 5.5 on the Storm, over 170. Mercury Aces, 3-1 ticket. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And this should be a very, very fun game. Now we move forward to the NBA Summer League Super High Five, 25-1. We have the Nets plus 2.5. We also have the Rockets Thunder over 182.5. We also have the under 178 with the Suns and the Pels. And then we also have the Kings money line minus 125. And then here goes a special play that I'm doing today with none other than Leslie Locks, aka betting with Les. And pretty much we decided to go ahead with the Wizards today at plus 105 as our play of the day, as our collab play of the day, as the young folks like to say. So pretty much that's where we're going here. And you guys can follow her at Betting with Les or at Leslie Locks. Hopefully one day we'll get her on the show so then we can go ahead and have some fun real quick and talk some betting and talk some tickets and maybe hear her whole spiel about how she caps her tennis up and how she caps her soccer up as well too. So you guys, there it goes right there. That's the collab play. She'll be dropping a video for it in a bit and I'll be retweeting that. So we move forward to the pinnacle of all the bets today, the MLB ASG Prop Bets. So we have the over 4 for the first half of the game, minus 105. I have the NL All-Stars winning by more than 1 run tonight. So we need them to win by 2 so we can cast this plus 115. But if they just win by a run, we get the push. And then we have the over 8.5 plus 140 because you know that the over is 7 tonight. And it's probably going to creep down to 6.5 tonight because they don't feel like there's going to be a lot of scoring. And it's a pitcher's ballpark that they're having this in. Usually that goes in reverse. So pretty much we do have the over 8.5 total with the plus 140. So we're shooting for this game to finish up 5-4 minimum. And then we have the bet. Then I have Mookie Betts winning the MVP at 14-1. And then I'm going to go ahead and circle the hometown hero, Julio Rodriguez, to win the MVP at 30-1. And then I have Freddie Freeman hitting a home run at 10-1. So those 3 bets right there are some big ones that hopefully we can get home. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on today's show. And I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in. You guys are the absolute best. And with that, as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.